Welcome to Fueled by Death Show. Hey, it's not just a podcast anymore. Get ready, the show's about to begin.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody.
Jeff, stop.
I'm sorry. Welcome, everybody.
I said stop!
It's Fueled by Death Show. And we're really excited that you're all here. This is the companion show to episode 97 of the podcast, which comes out tomorrow. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. First and foremost, though, I am the incredible Jeff.
I'm Dustin.
He's the amazing D-Man. Don't let him fool you. Don't let him fool you.
You know what they say? You under-promise and over-deliver.
You keep saying that.
Do I?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that. It's because I'm telling everybody I'm going to give them shit.
Oh, man. But we'd love it if you followed us over on social media. Our social media of choice is Instagram, but we also Facebook and Twitter from time to time as well. It's really easy to find us. I am at Jeff Wish Coffee.
And I am at Death Wish Dustin.
And please, if you guys are over on Instagram giving us a follow, we appreciate it so much. But we'd appreciate it even more if you took a second and followed at Real Christian Slater, because we really would like him to just keep getting followers for no apparent reason whatsoever, other than just being awesome.
Do not follow fake Christian Slater.
Don't follow fake Christian Slater.
Not
It's all
allowed.
fake.
We're
Yep.
not okay with that.
Only the real one. That's for sure. And if this is your first time joining the show, here's the deal. We try to give away something cool every single show. This show is no different. This show, we're giving away a Das Horn. All you got to do is share the show and drop a comment in those comments. Join the conversation during the entirety of the show. And then at the end of the show, after we sign off, one lucky comment in those comments will be picked to win the Das Horn. And there it is right here. It comes in this box with all these pieces that you see, the stand, the horn, the ceramic mug on top that you can put your hot beverage in. The cold beverage goes in the bottom there, plus a lanyard to wear it around your neck if you want.
It's so dangerous.
It's so dangerous.
Nobody told the R&D crew that, hey, maybe you shouldn't wear a hot beverage right above your crotch. Just saying.
But it's a really cool add to your collection, especially because it's not your average mug. And we're always giving away a mug every episode.
I see people using these at, like, Ren fairs now.
It's perfect.
It's perfect for Ren
Perfect
fair.
for Ren Fair. In fact, maybe we should like set up a booth sometime at a Ren Fair and just with these and like free refills all day or something.
I don't care what it's for.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Let's
I'm
go
down.
to Ren Fair.
So we might just do that next year. Who knows? Maybe Death
Dude,
Wish
if
Coffee,
work
Ren
paid
Fair.
for me going to Ren Fair, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, man. Ye old Das Horn. But yeah, guys, it's that easy. Just share and comment. One lucky comment at the end of the show will win the Das Horn. And can't start the show without thanking our good friend Brock Powell.
Do you think if we actually forgot to thank Brock Powell, the show just wouldn't be able to start?
Yeah,
the
Facebook
car
would
just turning over and over. And
yeah,
over
it would just
again?
kick us off. YouTube
There's just like
would
a
implode.
contract that we have with Facebook that we have to thank Brock Powell every show, or else
man.
they don't start the show.
I wish that was the case, because then Brock would be getting a hell of a lot more royalties.
Maybe he is, and we don't know.
Maybe he is. But we love Brock. BrockFox.com. Go check him out. Go follow him on social media. He's the voice actor on this show. 1,000 other voices in the world. Love Brock to death and back again. And stick around, guys, because we got a lot of good stuff coming up on this show today. Not only is this the second of our two-parter from Sideshow Collectibles, you guys are going to get a sneak peek of that episode premiering tomorrow. You're going to meet this week's death guest. You're also going to, there's some awesome science coming right up.
Going back to Cassini.
I love
Cassini. I mean, how crazy is it that we're just shooting things out into space and we're like, yeah, weird thing with the rings on it. Let's
look at it.
Let's get closer.
And as keeping with our theme, our holiday theme of all things Halloween in the month of October, we're going to roast some trick-or-treaters. Not really. We're not roasting children on this show yet. But we're going to roast some trick-or-treating, and on the update, we have a brand new product that has not been talked about at all on any of the social media, on anything else.
What could it be, Jeffrey?
And we're going to show it to you guys first, so you guys are going to want to stick around for that.
Secret code unlocked. Discount of death.
Oh, man, we got a special one this week. If you type in the discount code COURT, Jeff, spell court.
COURT.
That will nail you 25% off of the Death Wish DOS horn. 25%. That's huge. It's already marked down to what, $30?
I don't even know. Yeah, but we marked it down, and we're marking it down further this week just for you guys.
That's another $750.
Yeah.
Off. I mean, you're pretty much at this point. Not pretty much. You're getting these at cost.
Yeah.
At this point.
And it's such a cool product. You can put your hot beverage in the top, your cold beverage in the bottom, or popcorn if you'd so like.
No.
And comes with a strap. It's a great present too, because it comes all in a box, ready to be wrapped. So I know holiday season's coming.
The box. I gotta say, as a box dude, the box is high quality.
It is.
Good job on the box, for sure.
Good job on the box.
So if you're concerned about presentation, it's there.
But if you're again, holiday season is right around the corner. I know Halloween isn't even here yet, but as soon as Halloween hits, it's like Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's like the 1-2 punch. And if you're looking for that present for someone, you just don't know what to get them, this is the perfect thing. And 25% off all week long.
And these horns are going fast.
Yeah.
So move now.
Move now. Type in court at checkout. deathwishcoffee.com all week.
Until October 31st.
Until Halloween.
Science!
All right, D-Man. So science this week, we're going back to Cassini like you mentioned. And what's really cool is if you guys go back, I just got this notification. I meant to tell you this, actually, off pod, but I'll tell you on the show. I got the notification on October 18th that we have been doing the show in this format for a solid year.
What do you mean by this format?
When we started the podcast was all of this. Everything you're seeing. We did science, the roast, we did birthdays, we did the death list back in the day.
The Death Wish death list.
Yeah, all these different things we did at the top of the episode of the podcast, and then you got the guest. And a year ago, we decided not only was a lot of the stuff we were talking about way more visual,
right,
but we had amassed enough content for 2 shows. So we said, you know what? Screw it. Let's make it 2 shows. So that's why the podcast now is specifically the guest with the update and the Death Star as well. And now you guys get the weekly Fueled by Death show, which is all the other stuff. And we've been doing that for a solid year now.
I got to say, in retrospect, man, that made so much sense.
Yeah.
And it was very obvious that it made sense like that. But sometimes when you have these concepts, you really don't know how they're going to turn out. But you just got to go for it and see how it works out. And if it doesn't work the way you are desiring it to, then you just adjust. But we've had to make almost no adjustments.
Right. And just so you know, the podcast itself, Fueled by Death Cast, started in December of 2016. And in the beginning of 2017 was when Cassini, the spacecraft that was orbiting Saturn, went on its grand finale and started its final mission to give us the most amount of data it could before it went into the planet. Yeah. And at the end of Cassini's mission, and that's kind of why I brought up about the show, I just wanted to say, is because we've covered this.
Yeah,
you can
like
go
Cassini
back.
a lot.
You can go back to previous episodes, and we've covered its final mission up until the day that it happened.
I mean, like I said, how weird is it that we're doing this, that we're so astonished by it that we have to bring it up to you guys and talk about it.
And we said, after it finally did its final mission, all of that data was going to be poured over by scientists, and when they were finally giving us some of their insight, we would report it. And we're doing that today, which is really, really cool. It pushed past all preconceived boundaries that this spacecraft could have, and it flew where no man-made object has ever flown before. In its final grand finale mission, Cassini flew between the rings and the planet itself, getting closer and closer to the planet until it finally skimmed the outermost atmosphere of the planet and then eventually broke up in the atmosphere.
Yeah, you don't really last too long once you hit that shit.
But it continued and held on. This is, I get goosebumps talking about it. This is human ingenuity. This is science. This is space exploration at its utmost amazingness, where this little craft that was never wasn't even designed to do this, skimmed that atmosphere and fought the atmosphere. So its relays, its data relays that were pointed at Earth, kept pointing at Earth until its final breath. That's incredible. And the mountain of data we got from this thing is just massive.
Jeff, I got to say, the rush of admiration I had for you when you got chills over the thought of human ingenuity. I don't think I've ever seen anybody get chills at the thought of shooting. I mean, I'm sure scientists do, but it's cool to see that. It's great. It's a show of true passion.
It's amazing, and I want to show you guys a little recap video of Cassini here directly from the Johnson Space Center in NASA, and here's that.
A lone explorer on a mission to reveal the grandeur of Saturn, its rings and moons. After 20 years in space, NASA's Cassini spacecraft is running out of fuel. And so, to protect moons of Saturn that could have conditions suitable for life, a spectacular end has been planned for this long-lived traveler from Earth.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff of the Cassini spacecraft on a million-mile trek to Saturn. We have cleared the tower. Bridge program is in. Full program is in.
In 2004, following a 7-year journey through the solar system, Cassini arrived at Saturn.
To the SOI burn attitude or pointing position and light up the rockets.
The spacecraft carried a passenger, the European Huygens probe, the first human-made object to land on a world in the distant outer solar system.
Huygens arrival on Saturn's moon Titan.
For over a decade, Cassini has shared the wonders of Saturn and its family of icy moons, taking us to astounding worlds where methane rivers run to a methane sea, where jets of ice and gas are blasting material into space from a liquid water ocean that might harbor the ingredients for life. And Saturn, a giant world ruled by raging storms and delicate harmonies of gravity. Now, Cassini has one last daring assignment. Cassini's Grand Finale is a brand new adventure. 22 dives through the space between Saturn and its rings. As it repeatedly braves this unexplored region, Cassini seeks new insights about the origins of the rings and the nature of the planet's interior, closer to Saturn than ever before. On the final orbit, Cassini will plunge into Saturn, fighting to keep its antenna pointed at Earth as it transmits its farewell. In the skies of Saturn, the journey ends, as Cassini becomes part of the planet itself.
So that just brings us up to speed, and now over a year later, this mountain of data that they've amassed they're starting to dig into, and the scientists and the researchers are giving us a little bit. Some of the data is stuff we've never even thought about before, and it's raising a lot more questions than we even had, but it gives us a starting point to start answering those questions.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't even know to ask these questions, which is incredible. And I have this graphic here that lays out a lot of what I'm about to say. So some of these newest finds from the Cassini spacecraft are Cassini saw, by going in between the rings and the planet, Cassini saw just how the rings interact with the planet. It observed that the inner ring particles and their gases actually fall directly into Saturn's atmosphere, which they call ring rain. And it happens at a much faster rate than we had observed with telescopes. We had seen it happen in telescopes. We're like, okay, it happens. Cassini has proven that 10 tons of material per second fall from the rings onto the planet.
Wow.
That's incredible.
So are the rings just losing mass the whole time?
Yes, but they're gaining it too, because the rings are the rings and the planet itself has gravity, so they're constantly taking in particles. So it's like this whole ecosystem of stuff, which is crazy. And on top of that, complex organics are found in this rain. Water, actually in the water, like basically what they call it is the water nanograins is what's found coming from the rings into the upper atmosphere. And in this water nanograins, they're finding ammonia, they're finding carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, they're finding methane, they're finding nitrogen, they're finding silicates, they're finding complex organic structures that are different than the ones that we're finding on Titan, which is the largest moon of Saturn, and also Enceladus, which is the sixth largest moon of Saturn, that we've talked about both of those, finding complex organics.
It's getting organic material from
another place.
From areas that are not directly near it.
We're basically seeing in the same vicinity Saturn and these two huge moons that both have complex organics on it. All three have different ecosystems, basically.
Could something like this be a breeding ground for life?
Yes, 100%, and that's what we're thinking about. Nanoscopic life, but still tardigrades.
That's never even crossed my mind that this could just be a pool of materials, and it's combining them.
And it's constantly churning. It's constantly falling and coming back up and going into the rings and falling down like our rain does, which is crazy.
Whoa.
And we never knew this. Scientists were surprised to see the particles that are in between the gaps of the rings were much smaller than we thought. Think smoke. That's how small these particles are. So we've observed the particles of the rings being very small. But now Cassini was able to get so close to the gaps that there's actual even smaller nanoparticles in between the gaps of the rings. So some process that we have no idea what it is pulverizing these particles further down. We have no idea what it is.
It's not the churn itself?
Maybe. It could be, but we have nothing to quantify it. So it's that other question that it's like, could that be it?
So they can pore over the data and look for something that might prove that.
Right. This is another incredible discovery that we never knew. Cassini found that the rings of the planet are actually connected to the top of Saturn's atmosphere by a previously unknown electric current. We had no idea that this
it's being held in place by magnets, pretty much.
Basically.
Wow.
Yeah, but this electric current is actually affecting the planet and the rings, but it kind of keeps everything at bay.
Wow.
Which we never knew about. And we would have never known about if we didn't have a literal spacecraft right there.
That makes sense. It's kind of like when you put the metal fragments on a piece of paper, you put a magnet under it and it makes the rings.
Yep.
And it holds everything in place, so that's kind of what's going on.
In a sense.
Yeah, weird.
And it's even weirder. First of all, they found a new radiation belt around the planet. And by observing this radiation belt, it helped us observe the magnetic field of the planet.
Right.
Saturn has a magnetic field that is almost completely aligned with its axis. Now, not to get too sciencey, but that doesn't happen. The way we understand the way planets work, the way we understand magnetic fields, not only does that not happen at the rate that it's happening on Saturn, the way that Saturn is created with rings, it should not have a magnetic field like this at all. Yet it has one that's almost perfect. And it's in sync with its axis. We have no idea. This is brand new territory in space exploration. We have absolutely no idea why this could be. Dr. Linda Spilker of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory said, for the Cassini mission, the science rolling out from Grand Finale orbits more than the Grand Finale orbits, it actually more than justifies the calculated risk of diving into the gap, skimming the upper atmosphere, and skirting the edge of the inner rings. Almost everything going on in that region turned out to be a surprise. That was the importance of going there, to explore a place we'd never been before, and the expedition really paid off. The data is tremendously exciting. This takes me back to being in 7th grade and we all had to pick a planet and do a report on the planet.
Yeah.
And I picked Saturn,
Yeah.
and I did this whole report on Saturn. I bet you my mom still has it, or maybe I've got it somewhere. But like, it's one of those things that she would have kept, you know. And I bet you it's completely wrong now. You know, like everything that's in that report that I was able to glean from Encyclopedia Britannica, you know, like as a 7th grader, is completely like we've discovered so much more about this planet now.
Well, keep this in mind. 100 years from now, we send another shuttle there. What we're learning today might be completely wrong over again with our understanding, with a new understanding of science.
100 years from now, I genuinely hope we have a base on Mars and we're sending human beings to be in, kind of like we send humans in submarines down to the bottom of the ocean. I'm hoping by then we're sending humans in shuttles from Mars to Jupiter and Saturn to really, with our own eyes and our own instruments, be able to observe.
I mean, it makes
better.
sense we're heading in that way. But here's the thing that's got my head spinning, is thinking of these rings churning around with all these organic materials being taken from unknown places in the universe. Then you got a blast of radiation on top of it.
Yep.
It's like, this is how you make things happen.
Yeah.
This could be the origin of life.
And
or help us to get to the understanding of what the origin of life looks like.
Or at least the origin of the universe. Every time we find out more about different planets and the way they work in the universe, it gives us a better understanding of how the universe as a whole works. Because we still don't even understand why the universe is the universe. Like, we have no idea why that is.
Space is so trippy.
It is really
I'm
trippy.
tripping out so hard
because
right now.
you look at something like Saturn and it's its own system. You know, it's got rain from the rings, and it's a gaseous planet, and it's got this magnetic field. It's got all this stuff. The universe itself is a system. The universe itself is still expanding to this day. It's been expanding since the Big Bang, and it's still expanding. So, like,
It's expanding faster than we can observe it.
Correct.
That's nuts.
It's nuts. It's nuts. And that's what's so cool about a mission like Cassini is we're going to be getting new data from this for the next handful of years, which is going to spawn so much more research for the next 10, 50, 100 years down the road.
And you'll hear it here on Fueled by Death Show.
It's true. It's true.
Good, good. It is a fully operational Death Star of the Week.
All right, guys, it's that time again. Death Star of the Week. I'm going to just say it like I always do. If you are not a friend of the official Death Wish Coffee Company community page over on Facebook, go join it today. It's really easy, and it's a great community of people. That's where I find most of our Death Stars. Some of them happen to be in the comments right now, and this one might be no different. Mr. George Hain is the Death Star of the Week, and if you are a fan of the official Death Wish Coffee Company community page over there, you might know him as a different name, the DWC Wookiee. And we do talk about that, and if you've never met him, you're going to meet George right now. I got to know, how did you find out about Death Wish Coffee? When was the first time you heard about the company or the coffee?
So the very first time I heard about it, I was actually sitting, believe it or not, in California with a bunch of guys at a movie studio. And they're like, we just got this coffee and you have to try this. And because I was drinking crazy amounts of coffee at that point, my normal was 12 shots of espresso every morning. It was nuts. Yeah, I'm a coffee guy.
Yeah, I guess.
So I tried it. I fell in love with it. I made every place I worked pretty much carry it in some portion. So that was probably 2-3 years ago, about that.
Wow. So that's crazy. So that's a cool story. It wasn't that you were seeking it out. You were already an avid coffee drinker, and you had other people kind of push it on you.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad. So then you've obviously been a fan of the company and drinking the coffee for the last couple of years then, like you said. Has it quelled your coffee drinking? Do you drink less coffee now that you're drinking Death Wish? Do you drink more? How much do you drink a day?
There's probably, if I'm not paying attention, I'll drink 4 or 5 big mugs of Death Wish a day.
Yes.
I actually found a neat way to manage that a little bit as I got the Keurig from you guys when you offered it, and I've been doing a little bit more pour over. And that's a much slower process than just putting it in and letting it go or doing the Keurig death pods.
That's excellent. I also got to ask. I got to go back. I got to ask. You said you were hanging around a movie studio. What are you doing around a movie studio?
I used to do a lot of motion capture work and just all around jack of all trades. It's part of the reason I love the fact that you're using black magic here in the studio.
Yeah.
Because every time I look at your stuff, I'm like, oh, that's what they're doing. Okay. So I've done a lot of that in my past.
Very cool. Do you still do any of that stuff now, or?
Sort of as needed basis.
Yeah.
When people ask me for things, I'm generally the go-to of making things work outside the box.
Very cool. Well, I'm glad that you've got the world's strongest coffee to fuel you when you're doing that kind of stuff.
Yes, because 24 hours in a day is not enough time, and coffee is the lifeblood of your day.
I hear you. So the other side of it then that we always talk about on this segment is the lifestyle brand that we create, the stuff that we create, and specifically the mugs. Do you collect the Death Wish coffee mugs at all?
Yes.
You do. So what's the first mug that you got from the company?
The answer is you guys call it a Yeti.
Aha, the blue one.
Yeti.
Yeah.
So I got that, and then Gail through the community was doing raising money for I believe it was the Special Olympics, and I got a bunch of mugs through that, and then it just sort of snowballed. It's like
it totally
I've gotten the last couple of mugs. I didn't get the grinded out mug because I was sitting here going, I know what's coming.
Yeah.
And I have a huge relationship with the NASA and space, so I know what's coming, and I need that mug in my life.
Yes, and that's coming right around the corner. I'm very, very excited. So in your collection then, do you have a favorite mug? Do you have a go-to mug you use?
I have actually two favorite mugs. The first one is not something that I would normally call a normal favorite.
Okay.
It's the Valhalla Java this year's the red
lava glaze one. Yeah
I love that thing for two reasons, one of which is it's not one of the serialized ones, so I know if I break it in theory I could get another one for a short amount of time, and two, it's actually a nice mug. I like that style. It's the right size for the big old Wookiee paw. It is the right size.
I like that one too.
The other one, which I didn't think I would like, but has become sort of my other favorite, is the Harvest of Souls mug, the Reaper mug.
Yeah, that's a great one too. It's kind of in the same vein as that Valhalla.
It is. It's just a little thinner, and I didn't think I would like it being a little thinner because I'm constantly afraid of breaking mugs because I've broken so many mugs in my past that I baby my mugs, but that one's actually my other favorite. And don't get me wrong, they're all amazing. I love them all.
That's the thing, is like you said it earlier, it's a slippery slope. Both my wife and I, we have to weigh every mug release that comes out from the company. Do we need this? Do we need it? We're running out of cupboard space for the
No, I have that same problem. Yeah. In fact, I have a baker's rack that just has coffee on the top and mugs on the bottom.
Yeah.
And I wind up having to buy a couple of mugs just because if I don't, they will go missing.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
My brother's coming to visit and he's taking the mug. I wound up getting 3 Dropkick Murphy mugs because I had one, my mother wanted one, and my brother wanted one. And if I didn't get them, they would go away.
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't have gotten one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's funny. So through it all, the question I always come to, with everything you've seen us do with mugs, with merchandise, with sponsorships, with the show, with everything that we've done, is there something that we haven't tried as a coffee company that you'd love for us to see us try? And it can be anything.
Well, you've already done what was my number one request, which was the kettle.
Yeah, that's coming soon. I cannot wait for that.
You know what? I'm really hoping that you guys give the subscribers an opportunity to get at that before everyone else, because I know they're not a huge number of them.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how we're releasing it, but you know the drill. You'll know at least as soon as we do. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure how we're releasing that one.
Yeah, but that was my number one thing. The only two other things that I am constantly thinking that I really wish I had was obviously a Death Wish coffee grinder.
We're honest to God, and I'll tell you this. I don't know if we've talked about this on previous ones with Death Stars or not, but I will say this out loud. We are working on that. We've vetted a bunch of different ones, like looked at a lot of different companies, a lot of different coffee grinders, and there's specific things we like about them. So we're kind of going down the avenue now of seeing if we can develop our own. That's going to be a long road. I won't even say it might not even be something that we might be able to get our hands on by next year, but I think that's going to be the play is we're going to want to create a coffee grinder that's our own brand. That's all the cool stuff that we like about it. So, yeah.
And, what's funny is I've seen on the community, people have taken the old mill-style coffee grinders and stuck a medallion on it that says Death Wish on it and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's
just because, we all want one.
Yeah, yeah.
The other thing, and this is something that I would be remiss if I said, is more larger size merch.
Yep. And I know, for those of the community who might be meeting you for the first time, hashtag DWCC Wookie, right? Isn't that that's it?
Yep,
right?
DWC Wookie. Yep.
Yeah, DWC Wookie. And we do work so hard to try and do that. And I want to tell you that, person to person as well. Like it's been an uphill battle because just even a couple of years ago, we were working with, I think, 4 or 5 different apparel companies, and all of them kind of weren't as good as some of the ones that we're working with now. And we're trying to work with them to source larger sizes for a lot of the merch. Some of the specialty stuff, it's hard, I know.
Trust me. I live with this on a daily basis.
Yeah, it was a nightmare. I'll tell you.
I got my.
Yes, that shirt's the best. I love that.
And what's funny? It stretches enough that it's perfect.
Excellent.
It's still a little short. But then again, I'm 6'11", so I get it.
Holy, you are okay. So let's go to the Wookiee. Let's end on that. I gotta hear it. You gotta have a Wookiee call. Do you?
You heard it, huh?
Yay! That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I like I said, we're working on that. We're gonna definitely, continue to push out merchandise, and hopefully in those larger sizes as we can find it. And your dreams of a kettle are right around the corner, and hopefully the grinder will be following right afterwards.
Yep.
George, I can't thank you enough for taking time and talking with me today. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Hey, I appreciate it. I love the show.
Excellent.
The Fueled by Death guest.
All right, so this is the second part of our Sideshow Collectibles extravaganza. If you missed last week's episode, we talked to their on-air talent and all-around guru, Susan, and that was a lot of fun. And this week, we talked to the Sideshow Originals team. These guys are directly responsible for all the original stuff that comes out of Sideshow Collectibles, including their incredible property, Court of the Dead. And we got to sit down with Anna, Lacey, and Ricky, again, right at Sideshow Collectibles.
So cool.
Which was so cool. My God. And got to pick their brain about creating something from the ground up. Like, again, Sideshow is such a cool company because Star Wars contacts them and is like, we got a new movie coming out. You got to make, Luke Skywalker for us. And that's amazing and incredible as it is. How do you get
to that point as a company that those giant corporations reach out to you and like, hey, we're giving you the rights that we want you to make this.
But the other side of it is that company bringing together some of the most creative people in the world and being like, okay, create something. Have fun. Here's the sandbox. Have fun.
Make a universe.
Yeah, and that's what they did. In fact, even on this show, we couldn't show this because it was no cameras allowed back in the annals of Sideshow Collectibles. But we got to see where they're creating Court of the Dead, which revolves around death and his minions and the people of the court. And they all exist in this universe that they created. And we got to see just walls of, like, these are the areas that these people are from, and they're affiliated with these people, and this affiliation is over here.
Even down to like every piece of jewelry
and armor
every
and
weapon
yeah,
that they have has a purpose, has a background story. It's
incredible. And since then, they've created obviously some of the coolest statues around of these characters, but they've done graphic novels. There's a board game out now, and we even talked to them about the possibility of maybe some Netflix properties or something like that. It's a lot of fun if you've never heard of Court of the Dead, and we love Sideshow Collectibles to death. I cannot wait for you guys to meet everybody tomorrow on the podcast episode, but we have a sneak peek with the Sideshow Originals team right here. So let's talk about Court of the Dead. Like, where's the inception of this? How does this come to be at a company like this?
Well, that was actually the intention from Sideshow's beginning, to do original IP, but we were so successful in our passion and fandom and interpretation of the beloved DC and Marvel and Lucasfilm and all of our other characters that kind of took over the company's mission for a long time. So it wasn't until about 2012 with Court of the Dead that we actually started getting back to the original intention of the original IP. And Court of the Dead specifically comes from the head and twisted heart of our Chief Creative Officer, Tom, who unfortunately couldn't be with us this afternoon, but we carry his vision forward, so we'll represent it well. But that's really Tom's a classic metalhead. He played a lot of D&D in high school.
Nice.
So a lot of those gnarly roots are very evident in the characters, and that deep history in gaming is also a part of the character design. Can I put you guys on the spot and talk about Tom a little bit and his vision for Court of the Dead and like what other parts of that was very well said. But this has been rattling around in Tom's head for a couple decades.
Yeah.
Wow. So our job is really to pull that out and organize it, manifest it as collectibles, and in the different forms we're telling the story.
Deliver it to people.
Happy birthday! Surprise! I'm naked.
Okay, birthday time this week. Let's start it right off on Thursday, October 25th, turning 61 years old, Nancy Cartwright. And you probably know her voice more than her face. She is, of course, Bart Simpson and a host of characters on The Simpsons. In fact, she's done stuff with Matt Groening, who created The Simpsons. She's done stuff on Futurama. She's done stuff on all sorts of stuff. But she is such an incredible voice actress. She's been all over some of your favorite properties. In fact, little known, she was Mindy on the Animaniacs. And if you don't remember who I'm talking about, Mindy and Buttons. That was Nancy Cartwright. Also, Nancy Cartwright took over as the primary voice of Chucky Finster on the Rugrats in 2000.
That makes sense.
Because the voice actress who originally did Chucky retired. And so Nancy took over, and you cannot tell. I mean, Nancy is incredible, has been running with Bart Simpson and her myriad of cast of characters on The Simpsons for 30 seasons now.
That's insane.
It's insane to think about a job like that. Like, you know, you get a voice acting job and you're like, hopefully this will run for a couple seasons. But 3 decades?
Yeah.
Incredible. So happy birthday to her. And speaking of voice acting and incredible cartoon making, on Friday, October 26th, Seth MacFarlane is turning 45.
So much more than that, too.
So much more. I mean, obviously, Family Guy, American Dad, The Cleveland Show. Yeah, those are like the primary animated properties that Seth's done. But he's responsible for Ted, the bear. Yeah. He's responsible for A Million Ways to Die in the West. He's responsible for, God, so many cool. Oh, The Orville, that new sci-fi show that's out now. That's like a Star Trek.
Tell me what I want to hear, though. Tell me what I want to hear, Jack.
Cosmos.
Yes.
Him and Neil deGrasse Tyson and Andrew Rhin, Carl Sagan's wife there, they brought back Cosmos. And season 2 is coming. We're going to get it.
I cannot wait for it. But it was so crazy to see that, like, the dude who made Family Guy.
Yeah. It's a great. Fart jokes are going to be in science. Wonderful. And that's not the case at all.
So many jokes about Uranus.
Yeah.
Anyways. It always took me by surprise, but it showed how many layers that this man has.
Yes.
And it's many.
And he's very, very, very much into science fiction and space exploration, and that's why he wanted to bring something like this to life, And he's created this empire. He can do no wrong at Fox, he's created this empire.
On top of that, it's just he's kept himself out of all the news and tabloids. I mean, he's a well-behaved boy.
Yeah. In fact, he's even a singer. If you guys are fans of Family Guy, you know that he voices Brian, and he sings a lot with Brian and with
Stewie and
everybody.
Everybody.
But he came out with an album because he's very much into that old big band Rat Pack type, music. Yeah. So he cut a whole album of just doing that, which is great, and he does a great job at it.
Crazy.
Yeah. He's one of those creatives that I'm always happy to see him doing something new because it's always really cool. So happy birthday to him. On Sunday, October 28th. The very talented Joaquin Phoenix is going to be 44 years old. Love him. Love his entire family. I miss River all the time. River Phoenix was his brother and tragically died in a bar fight, unfortunately.
Really? Is that how he died?
He got stabbed.
Why did I think he committed suicide?
Yeah, he got stabbed.
I don't know. Jeez, that sucks.
I think. Maybe I'm getting my wires crossed.
I'm going to look it up while you talk about Joaquin Phoenix.
I'm getting my wires crossed.
Yeah,
maybe he died.
Let me fact
maybe he
check
did
you
die. Maybe I'm getting
no judgment, but
no judgment. Anyway, Joaquin Phoenix, one of the coolest actors out there, has been nominated multiple times for many different awards. In fact, God, I still can't get over the way he portrayed Johnny Cash in Walk the Line.
Yeah,
so
good.
So good. And Gladiator.
It's so good.
Gladiator. Drug overdose. I see it. It's a drug overdose. I got it wrong. It was a drug overdose.
Intoxication following over the sidewalk, West Hollywood nightclub, the Viper Room.
Yeah.
At the age of 23.
But
Jeez.
but Joaquin's been with us, been pulling out a ton of cool roles, and now he's in something very controversial.
Yes. I'm excited for it. Are you excited for it?
I'm very excited for it because the one thing we've never gotten from the Joker on the big screen is his actual origin.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Tim Burton's Batman 1989 with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson as the Joker
doesn't count.
We do get an origin,
doesn't
but
count.
It's very, very campy. He gets thrown in acid, and yeah. We get a weird origin for it. And as great as Heath Ledger portrayed the Joker, as great as that portrayal was, we never really got any backstory with him. Yeah. It was just we were thrown into the mix, and there's the Joker. Yeah. He's crazy already. Joaquin Phoenix is going to portray this character, and we're going to see him go from a normal human being or a slightly normal human being to someone who's just goes over the edge and loses it.
I got a question. If we had, what's his name?
Heath Ledger.
If Heath Ledger was still alive, you think he'd be doing this movie?
I think if Heath Ledger was still alive, I think all of DC movies themselves would be different.
Yeah.
I think we still would have that. He would still be in the canon. I think maybe even Christian Bale would still be there. The dichotomy of it. I don't think
so.
I think it would have changed a lot of things. I think they had to pivot. Because he died.
I like to peek into that universe.
Yeah.
Where
it's one of those random questions, though. Like, what if Kurt Cobain didn't kill himself? What if Nirvana had still been kept alive?
Yeah, the whole music industry would have been different.
Would have been different. Or
maybe.
if Biggie was still alive. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's those what if things. But I'm very excited for this iteration.
Yeah, I think he's going to do great.
I think we're going to get a Joker we've never seen before, and we'll definitely see.
I think back to his one role, that fake documentary he did where he's losing his mind the whole time.
Yeah.
And this lines right up with that.
Totally.
It totally makes sense. I really think he can nail this role probably better than anybody else. I'm not going to say he's going to be better than Heath Ledger.
We'll see.
But if there's anybody to fill those shoes, it's Mr. Phoenix here.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely see. And on Monday, October 29th, we got a pair of birthdays. First, going back to The Simpsons, turned 61, Dan Castellaneta, the voice of Homer and 1,000 other voices on that show. Also, 1,000 other voices out there in the world. He voiced the genie on Aladdin. When Aladdin became a television series, they obviously weren't going to pay for Robin Williams to do it, and he did that.
Robin Williams didn't even do the second movie.
Right. Dan did, I believe, the second movie as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he did a great job.
Yeah, he nailed it.
Doing a voice match. He's done a ton of different stuff, a ton of stuff for DC, a ton of stuff in just the lexicon of animation. But he's one of those rare voice actors who does have an on-screen career. Nothing major, never a leading man, never even a sidekick. He's always just kind of in the movie or in the TV show, but has been in a ton of stuff, from NYPD Blue to Arrested Development to Parks and Recreation to How I Met Your Mother. Like, literally, he pops up as just a random guy, in just things, which is very hard to do, to balance an on-camera career and a voice acting career, especially for as long as he's been doing it. So happy birthday to him. But also on Monday, October 29th, friend of the show, happy birthday to Beth Chapman. Beth, you might know her as her reality TV series. Yeah, her and her husband, their dog. They did that series forever, and she's still fighting the good fight with Dog. They're very politically active.
Dude, it was so great meeting them.
Yeah, and we did have Dog the Bounty Hunter on our show. You can go back and listen to that episode with the podcast. You can watch it too. We filmed the whole thing. That was a lot of fun talking to him about getting into being a bounty hunter and all that kind of stuff. But she's a sweetheart as well. So a happy birthday to her on Monday, and a happy birthday to everybody this week.
I smell a roast.
All right, guys, before we get into the roast, I just want to give you one final time here. Make sure you share the episode, and if you haven't, put a comment in those comments. Join the conversation. Drop a comment, and one lucky comment will be picked after the show is over to win this Das horn. It's the whole pack, the whole thing with the stand and the lanyard and everything else. We'll send it right out to one lucky winner. And so, like I said, keeping with the theme of Halloween, I want to roast trick-or-treating this week on the show. And I did a little research before we get into the modern day of where trick-or-treating even had its origins from. And I didn't know some of this stuff. I knew that, like, there was... obviously, everybody knows the ethos behind trick-or-treating. You say trick-or-treat because you want to... you either are going to get a treat or you're going to enact some sort of mischief on the house that you're at. So it's kind of like a threat, basically, is what trick-or-treating is.
Give me some candy or I'm going to fuck shit up.
Basically.
Yeah.
But
Jeff, did you ever mess up a house?
Oh my God, Devil's Night. Not like I never messed up a house because they didn't give me candy.
No, it was just,
but Devil's Night,
yeah,
October 30th.
We call it cabbage night.
Cabbage night. Yeah. Oh yeah.
We used
toilet
to
paper,
eggs on cars. Yeah.
Bad kids, bad kids, and I feel bad. And I feel bad because
I feel a little bit bad, but I don't feel like I did any permanent damage.
I hope I didn't. I
don't care.
I hope I didn't. But anyway, so this goes back to origins in the Middle Ages. Now, this isn't necessarily trick-or-treating, but this can be thought of as that early thing. Have you ever heard of a mummer?
Yeah.
Or mummer's dance?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Or mumming.
I couldn't.
So it was this practice in the Middle Ages where mummers or mumming would dress up, and they were street performers, basically street actors, and basically they would call a bunch of people dressed up to the stage, which would be the street or in front of like a castle or a church or something like that, and the play would always act out differently depending on the characters, but there was one central theme. Two of the characters that were called to the stage would inevitably fight each other, one being the winner and one dying, and then another character would be revealed as the doctor and would revive that character. Okay. And that would be like it would be this whimsical street play, basically. Okay. But they would ask for food, and they would kind of roam from town to town and square to square and kind of like dress up and perform a play and ask for food.
Tinkers.
In a sense.
Yeah.
So this tradition of mumming was in Britain and Ireland in the Middle Ages, and it coincided with some holidays, including Halloween, including the harvest. Mm-hmm. So you could technically say maybe there's this pull.
It makes sense that they'd be doing it during the harvest because that's when they could get food more readily.
Right.
Yeah.
The other reason is that the idea of trick-or-treating, especially the way we know it now, dressing up in, like a ghoul or a monster or something like that, is because it's this early belief that the supernatural, the souls of the dead, would roam the earth during this time. Mm-hmm. And they needed to be appeased somehow. So you'd kind of leave them treats to kind of like make them happy, and they wouldn't screw with your shit, basically. Yeah. And we talked about that a little bit with the jack-o'-lanterns, like the same kind of thing, like ward them off. A Celtic festival was actually held between October 31st and November 1st. It was called Samhain in some areas. I don't know if you've ever heard that term before. Trick-or-treating could have come from this festival where people were said to dress as souls of the dead and give gifts to each other to appease those souls. So, again, it could be kind of like that. Also, I found out that in the 15th century, Christians would go from parish to parish and ask for soul cakes. And these soul cakes were a pastry that was baked specifically meant to honor the dead. So, again, almost trick-or-treating in a sense.
Why?
I don't know.
It seems weird, right?
Early times were weird.
Yeah.
They
Can we
were
get
really...
some cake to, like, celebrate some dead people?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, here's some soul cake,
It was
I
super
guess.
weird. Guising, as it was called back then, which was the way of either putting a mask or a costume on, that was started as early in the 1600s, kind of going around in like a guise. But it was written about in the early 1900s in America, in Canada, and also in the U.S. And the term trick-or-treat wasn't used or written about into the U.S. until 1930s, and it gained a lot of pop culture status in the 40s and 50s with radio shows like Jack Benny, and also the iconic Disney 1952 Trick or Treat, where Huey, Dewey, and Louie meet Witch Hazel, and she takes them trick-or-treating. They don't know that she's an actual witch, but Donald finds out, and it's like, it's hilarious. It's an iconic film. Around this same time in 1951, 1952, is when Charles Schulz started drawing the Peanuts characters going trick-or-treating in the comic strip.
So wait, did they come up with the term trick-or-treating in the
No,
Disney film?
no. It was the term trick-or-treating was first kind of written about in the 30s.
Okay.
As like a thing. But it wasn't really shown as pop culture until this point.
Weird.
And then it was like, oh, everybody's doing this. And then in the 50s is when the Halloween costume started to be like pushed onto children, and it was like, okay, this is
that
a
makes
thing.
sense because that's when like the movies really started to pick up.
Totally,
which
totally.
we talked about.
Yeah, totally. And then so now it's this nationally accepted practice, and it usually takes place between 5:30 and 9:30 at night. You know, for children all across the country. It's, you know, the drill. If you're going to give out candy, you either leave a bowl of candy on your doorstep, or you've got, you know, your house decorated with the lights on to allow people to know that your house is one of those houses. And recently, trick-or-treating has seen kind of a shift of, instead of going house to house, like a lot of communities do it in like a community center or the mall or schools, so in a more safer environment.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. Because I was just reading just the other day that there is a town, Chesapeake, Virginia, which is now saying, the local law enforcement is saying that if you are caught trick-or-treating and you are older than the age of 12, you can pay a fine or serve jail time.
Sir, could you step to the side, please? Can I see your ID? No, you don't. You don't have one. You're only 8. Oh, okay. What are we doing here? This is crazy.
I don't know. And
this
I mean,
is crazy.
And I it's a weird thing to talk about, because I do, on one hand, first of all, neither Dustin or myself have kids, and I do understand on one hand it is a scary world to live in. But you know what? I think it's always been a scary world to live in.
Yep, we're just hearing about it more.
We're just hearing about it more. And we all have stories of when we were kids. When I was a kid, you know, it was me getting together with a group of other kids my age, and we hit our neighborhood. And sometimes we'd hit our neighborhood and hit the adjacent neighborhood, too. Because, I don't know if you guys know, but a pillowcase makes a great trick-or-treat frickin' bag.
Yeah. Oh, man, so much candy.
So much candy. So, you know, I know that it's a little bit scarier now, but I still feel like we shouldn't be punishing children. Personally speaking, I trick-or-treated until I was 17.
Jeff, that's illegal.
I did, though. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
I think I got to like about 13 years old, and then I remember the last year where like I attempted it and then felt like
I might have been 16.
Really dumb, so I was like, "Oh, let's just hide behind cars and scare kids."
Yeah,
and
I did that too.
And then we kind of moved into that. And
I
that
did
was
that
the
too.
end of my trick or treating, because that was a hell of a lot more fun.
But I mean, I've got so many good memories of, you know, just being, because you feel as a child, especially, you know, 10, 11 years old, like you're by yourself, no parents, because obviously 5-year-old or whatever, you know, the parents are taking them around. I get that, you know, you don't want them wandering off or whatever. But when you're like 10 or 11, you get to go out on your own.
Yeah, and it's like,
safe
because there's tons of people. I mean, when I used to walk my local development to go trick or treat, there was just kids everywhere. They're just all out in the streets. It's such a cool thing to see.
And
it doesn't happen any other time.
And everybody's checking themselves, you know, because like I said, y'all know if the house is dark, You don't go up to that house because they don't have any candy. You're wasting your time. Go to the next house that's got the lights
Did you ever
on.
have the scare of like, make sure to check your kids' candies for needles or?
That started probably at the end of my trick-or-treating.
Really?
Yeah, I remember there was a big push in, let's say...
remember Ranger Danger?
Ranger Danger. He was a local guy around here that would do that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, like, I remember like the mid-'90s, maybe even like a little bit in the early '90s. That was starting to be a big thing because like the idea of, oh my gosh, you found razor blades in this kid's candy or needles or whatever, so you got to start checking. Their cases are rare. It definitely happens.
See, here's the thing that always bothers me with that is that if that's not happening, but you throw that idea out there, it's going to happen somewhere.
Yeah.
Because you gave them that fucking idea to put razor blades in kids. That's always like the weird area with media. It's like, yo, if you're going to bring our attention to something dangerous, don't give dangerous people bad ideas.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what's the worst idea, worse than getting a razor blade or a needle in your bag, is those jerks in those neighborhoods who
apples
and
I knew it.
I had a dentist that handed out toothbrushes.
Dude, he doesn't.
Ugh.
He must hate money.
I know.
'Cause I'll tell you what, as a dentist, hand out that fucking candy.
Yeah, come on. It's
Fix
like,
those teeth. What do you want, people to run out of cavities? What are we doing here?
I heard another story that'll piss you off. I don't know where this is in America, but I heard it this year. It either happened this year or last year. This lady handed out notes to children she deemed obese that said, your parents should be ashamed and you should not have any candy because you are too obese.
That's a real life witch.
Yeah.
By the way.
Oh yeah.
Casting evil spells.
I'm sure she must have gotten some really irate parents.
I bet her yard and house probably got fucked up.
Because she's not. If that's not a keyboard warrior,
her house is just getting plastered with toilet paper and eggs.
That's what I mean.
A bunch of fat kids.
That's not a keyboard warrior. That's literally the kids who got those notes
they
know exactly where she lives.
Know where you live.
Yeah.
You didn't like hide that, putting that in the bag. Please, that's crazy. That sounds like a crazy lady.
So I mean, I understand it can be scary for children, you know, especially in this day and age. But I do believe that there are safe neighborhoods and safe environments for trick-or-treating to happen, and I don't think it should be lost. In fact, my neighborhood, again, another memory I have, and I was very lucky. I grew up in a neighborhood that when I grew up in that neighborhood, I had lots of children my age. It was one of those lightning in a bottle moments where there was lots of families with kids that were either my age or a year above and a year below.
Yeah.
So there was a teacher, she was a music teacher at the local elementary school, that would dress up like a witch, and her husband would drive his pickup truck with a hayride behind it, and we would have a parade leading up to Halloween.
Yeah.
And all the kids would dress up, and we would all like go down to her house and get like candy apples and stuff like that, but she'd be the witch and everything, and that would kick off Halloween, and then we would go trick or treat.
Dude,
it was
shit
magical.
That you read in a book.
Yeah,
That's
it was
great.
like a Disney afternoon. It was crazy. And I know everybody's not that lucky, but I mean there are still good places in this world. I want to believe that, and I feel bad that kids have to go trick or treat in a mall or not at all anymore.
I just got a great idea, like $1 million idea.
All right.
Starting a security firm where you can hire security agents to protect your kids while trick or treating.
Ooh.
Or neighborhoods can hire a bunch of security agents to patrol the whole neighborhood.
And that's not a bad idea. I mean, here, I'll give you another example.
Actually, it's a hella good. Hashtag copyright. Seriously.
I'll give you another example. I had 2 cops that lived in my neighborhood, and they were definitely out every Halloween.
Wow.
You know, just
I
being
mean,
out.
Honestly, that's what cops should be doing.
Yeah,
but
they were just being out, you know, like just walking the streets, and it made you feel safer.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, I dealt with bullies like anybody. Don't get me wrong. I was a tiny kid growing up. There was a couple Halloweens where I had to deal with bullies, and there was one Halloween where I got my whole bag of candy stolen.
What? That's so fucked up.
I was very sad. I ran home crying. I was young. It's okay. I'm over it.
Jeff, it'll be all right. We're never over it, but it'll be okay, buddy.
But, you know, I just don't want trick-or-treating to become this police state. I want it still to be free for kids. Like, you feel like I said, it was so cool being able to walk around your neighborhood in a costume and going from house to house and getting...
I have so many good memories.
What was your favorite candy as a kid?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
I mean, it's always the little candy bars, right?
Okay. I mean, what about full candy bars? Did you ever go to a house that gave out a full candy bar? I did once.
Yeah.
When we went to the other neighborhood.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
It was full candy bars.
I'm a hardcore Snickers fan.
Yeah?
Or Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Yeah,
Those
Reese's.
yeah.
Reese's were my favorite. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, but I loved getting
and not the mini ones, the little
the
sleeve.
big. Yeah. I loved getting anything that was like a Reese's Pieces or an M&M.
Oh, nice.
Because I just loved having those and would snack on those as I was going from house to house.
That's why I like Smarties.
Yes.
Smarties were great. You just pop one in your mouth, keep
Yes.
on going. Nobody likes Pez. Get the fuck out of here.
Yes.
Shit.
And Pixie Sticks. Pixie Sticks were the best. Have a couple of those, and you can hit the
them?
whole thing. Yeah, you can get the whole freaking
Just doing lines
neighborhood.
of Pixie Sticks. Do you have any memorable costumes?
Yes, in fact, I brought this up recently.
Your mom probably made a ton of costumes, right?
She did. I wanted to be a robot one year, and she got dryer tubes. You know, the tubes that come out of the dryer.
My mom did the same. Not for Halloween. I was in chorus as a kid but one of my solos was Robbie the Robot, which was a spin-off of Frosty the Snowman.
Yep.
My mom built me the same costume with the vacuum tube arms.
Yep. So I had that one year, but I actually brought this up recently. The one costume I'm the most proud of, but it was the worst idea ever, is I told my father, I was like, I want to be something completely new and different, something somebody's never seen before. So when I show up at everybody's house on Halloween, they're going to go, awesome, kid, you're awesome.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be a tombstone. Because who's ever been a tombstone, right? Nobody. So my dad built me a tombstone out of cardboard.
Were you a tombstone shaped like an iPhone?
No, I was No, I was a tombstone shaped like a tombstone, but he built it out of cardboard, and my arms and head went out of it, and it came down to my knees. So poor little me, my friends
Just
all
waddling
just
everywhere?
my friends just left me. I'm literally like,
Wait, guys, wait.
I fell over a couple times on the lawn.
Sure.
Like, and I would show up to houses and people would be like, what are you supposed to be? And he even said R.I.P. on it and everything, but it's just like, I thought it was a great idea. And he did, to my father's credit, that was an awesome looking costume, but it was the dumbest idea on my part. I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, like anything for you? Do you remember?
There's one specifically because it's still so close to my heart, but my grandmother actually sewed us Star Trek costumes.
Whoa!
And I was Commander Riker one year.
Number one.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That to me, that sticks out in my mind. My mom put together. She would always get these like kits. Right?
Yeah.
And one was like Tweety Bird and Sylvester, and my brother went out as Tweety Bird and Sylvester, and they were great big heads. But I remember the same years. It's just like the purple balloons taped to you in your bundle of grapes.
Bundle of grapes.
I remember the shark costume that I wore for like 4 years. It was.
I wore this costume out. This was my little kid costume up until I couldn't fit into it anymore. It was Buzz Off, one of the C-list characters from He-Man. He was the bumblebee guy that, like, Skeletor would be like, go get him, Buzz Off, and He-Man would be like, smack. Like, that was it. But I loved that character, and I was like Buzz Off for, like, 5 years of my childhood.
That's amazing.
Don't lose your childhood. And
by the way, in the comments, I want to see a list of your most memorable costumes. I want to hear some funny ones.
Yeah,
I want to hear some bizarre ones. Let us know. I want to read through those.
Yeah, but I really hope trick or treating doesn't die out. I feel for kids. I just feel for kids that have to face a fine if they're 13. I understand cutting it off. Like, I was too old at 16 going out and trick or treating, but I think 13 is still okay to be trick or treating. Especially put it this way: what if you are a 13 or 14-year-old and you're taking around your 5-year-old sister or brother or whatever?
What if you're 13 and you're autistic?
Yeah.
Did they think about this law?
Yeah.
And
why should it be a law?
Here's the thing: if they're patrolling and enforcing a law where they're checking people if they're over 12, if they can go trick or treat. Hold on a second. What the fuck are you doing? Shouldn't you be doing something else?
Yeah.
Like looking for predators?
Yeah.
Or actual, like, people who are breaking laws, like taking kids and shit like that? You're worried about fucking 13-year-olds going trick-or-treating?
I'm not happy with it.
Yo, you got your obligations totally fucked up, Virginia. Get your shit straight.
Yeah, so, I hope you all are taking kids trick-or-treating, or if there's any kids in the comments, get out of the comments. We fucking swear on this show. Oh, man. But, Halloween's right around the corner, guys. Can't wait.
I can't wait.
Can't wait.
D-Man's Death Wish Update. Brought to you by Death Wish Coffee.
So, tomorrow, everybody, it's happening. Our Nevermore mug is available for purchase tomorrow.
I'm throwing this out there. Coolest mug to date.
Coolest mug to date. And if you guys have not signed up for the text list, I'll put up that information right here. Text mugs to 484848. And when the mug goes live on the website tomorrow, you will get a text message with a link to buy it. So you don't even have to leave your smartphone. You can just click it, click buy, and it's in your cart and ready to go. Also, and I say this all the time, and I just want to just throw it out there again. Today was the subscriber release. So if you are a subscriber to our coffee, that means that you get a day early a chance to get the mug. And it gets scarier and scarier every time we release these mugs.
This is the scariest one.
Yeah.
By far.
That it might sell out before we actually get it to release. So I can't say it enough. And not only do you get a day early on a mug release with a subscription, but you get coffee delivered to your door on a regular basis, whether it's every week, every couple weeks, every month, every couple months. You can set it up however you want.
Get all the freebies.
And you get all the freebies. And you get other cool perks. Subscription is the way to go, guys, especially if you're constantly buying coffee, like I know I am. It is the way to go. And one of the coolest perks is being able to purchase these mugs a day early. But if you're not a subscriber, the other best way is to be part of that text list, because as soon as that goes live, which will go live around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, as soon as our newsletter hits, you'll be able to get your hands on our Nevermore mug. And like the email says, once they're gone, they'll be nevermore, because they are a limited release. 5,000 of these, just slightly under 5,000 of these were made. When they're gone, they're gone, like every other limited
By the
edition.
way, I got to say, small correction, Jeff.
Okay.
5,000 were made. 5,000 didn't make it to the end. That's just the way it works. It's pottery.
The way the mug crumbles.
No, Jeff, that wasn't... Why would you even interrupt the show to make a joke that doesn't even make sense?
It does. It's a Walter Cronkite.
Yeah, but mugs don't cry. Jeff.
All right. Anyway, tomorrow, guys, we're really excited for this mug and hope you guys are too. Also, in theme with this show, in theme with Halloween, for the next couple weeks, you still have a chance to enter every single day with multiple entries every single day for this incredible contest with us and Sideshow Collectibles. Tomorrow, our podcast with the Court of the Dead creators comes out, and you have a chance to win a 6th scale death figure. I'm going to show you guys some photos as we're talking about this, but you get to win one of these. There's only 500 of these in existence. It's a $700 value, and that's not all. You're also going to win a year's supply of Death Wish coffee along with this figure. It's incredibly cool. I really wish that they'd send us one, because I want, like, this figure is just so freaking cool. The buckles are real brass.
Oh my God.
The cloth is real cloth. The scythe, the sickle that he's got in his hands is metal. It's
real metal.
So cool.
Remember seeing the big one?
Yeah, the life-size one. Yeah.
That was insane.
If you guys watch the episode,
I got a picture of it. So
I've got it on video too.
Yeah.
So if you guys are watching the episode tomorrow, you'll be able to see that as well. But this runs until, I believe, November 9th. So you've got still plenty of time to enter this contest and enter every single day, and you're going to get a chance to win one of the coolest contests that we've done in a very long time. Bookmark deathwishcoffee.com/contests. We're running new contests with new and cool companies all the time. You guys remember the incredible contest we did with Cold Steel with the War Axe, and now with Sideshow Collectibles. We got some really cool stuff planned. Don't miss it. Bookmark that website, and you'll see it all the time. Because not only that, every single week we give away free coffee for a month, and you can enter that every single week too. It's awesome. It's awesome. So, got something new on that horizon. Something that we haven't talked about. We've shown you a lot of apparel. And we probably should release something to keep it all in, right? Yeah. Here's D-Man modeling again. There it is. We're going to come out with a backpack. A Death Wish Coffee branded backpack It's really cool. There is tons and tons of pockets and a lot of good space in there. Do you know the company that we went through with this?
Yes.
Are we allowed to know the company that we went? Trey. Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was a backpack company we knew.
It's not significant. I'm sorry.
It's really well made, really high quality backpack. Got the Death Wish Coffee logo right on it. And I just want you guys to know that this is.
It's the same company we did for the duffel bag.
It's the same company we did for the duffel bag, which is also a great product. And speaking of the duffel bag, we're going to release this product much in the same vein as that. So you're not going to, when this becomes as a product, you're not going to be able to purchase this on its own. It's going to be some sort of cool bundle that we're working out the logistics right now, but it's going to be a backpack full of stuff.
Spiders.
Not spiders, but
no!
but we're really excited to release that product for you. And like I said, it's cool because we do a lot of merchandise, we do a lot of apparel, and it's cool when we do just a random thing like that, like a backpack, because everybody needs a backpack. I mean, you know, if you're traveling.
I gotta say, I think it was Niles Deneen.
Yeah.
Hit me up. He's like, "What's up with that bag?" I'll send you one. Don't worry.
That's funny. That's funny. So we're really excited about that. That's coming soon. We'll tell you as it gets closer to that. Speaking of getting closer, you guys have been asking for it. You know it's the next mug because we've said it on this show, and I'm going to keep saying it until it comes out. This mug, the Nevermore mug, comes out tomorrow. So that means the next Deneen Pottery limited release mug that comes out is our Space Oddity mug, the biggest mug we've ever made at 20 ounces. It is giant. It's enough to fit a lot of space.
And it's coming out right on the heels of this, by the way. You only have a few weeks between the two because the holidays are so close. I mean, it's holiday season. You're going to get a bunch of mugs. Save your shekels. Get them now.
Yeah, and I know everybody's been so excited about the space mug ever since we rocketed our coffee into space, and it's currently on the International Space Station. We're excited about the space mug. We're so excited about it that we had a couple of them printed early so I could take one down to NASA to be with me when it went into space, which was crazy. We released it on a T-shirt recently. Do we still have any of those even left?
Only in 2 sizes currently.
Oh, so if you're one of those sizes, go get that T-shirt.
Small and medium, I believe.
There you go.
I could be wrong, but
because I love that frickin' T-shirt. But we're going to be releasing the mug, and for those of you who have never been a part of the mug release, I'm going to run it all down for you. Very, very soon, before the release of the Space Oddity mug, we're going to have a golden ticket day, which means that a handful of these Space Oddity mugs will be released in a variant color and a variant glaze. The actual color or the variant?
The variant.
I have not.
I have not either. Can't wait.
The actual color.
They sent them last week, so we're going to see them soon.
The actual color is very, very cool.
Yeah.
Honestly, the golden ticket will be just as cool, but it'll be completely different. And there'll only be a handful of released. And on that golden ticket day, every single order will have the random chance to get a golden ticket mug thrown in with whatever you order on that day, which is very, very cool. But the coolest thing is that on that day, every single order on the golden ticket day will get a free patch.
But wait, there's more.
And it's the patch. It is the Space Oddity patch. I'll put a photo in the show as well. But with that cream and orange, it's a little bit off brand, but it looks so good. And it's one of those awesome high quality patches. The detail is insane, and this is gonna look good on whatever you put it on. And every single order that day, which is right around the bend, is gonna get that patch. I cannot wait, guys. So keep listening, keep watching, subscribe to that newsletter. You're going to know. We'll tell you as soon as we know. But we're really excited about it. Space Oddity mug is right around the corner. So is the backpack. So is all of the cool stuff you guys have been waiting on. And even some more stuff that we haven't even talked about.
So many stuffs.
You're going to have to wait till next week for another update. And that's the show, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, sharing, commenting, liking, all that fun stuff. One final time, if you want to follow Dustin and myself on social media, it's really easy. It's right at the bottom of the screen throughout the entire show. I am at Jeff Wish Coffee.
And I am at Death Wish Dustin.
And please tune in tomorrow to the podcast with the creators of Sideshow Originals' own property, Court of the Dead. And we talked to them about creating this property and all the cool stuff that goes into it. Some behind-the-scenes footage in there as well. You're not going to want to miss that episode. So tune into that. And we'll be back next week with a brand new show, brand new chance to win something, and a lot more fun. Goodbye, guys.
Cheers.